Last week I talked about Operation Black and Blue's upcoming protests, October 3rd to the 8th. And I'm pretty excited about it. And I'm pretty excited about this commercial driver's Bill of Rights that they've drawn up, because they hit so many nails on the head with this. Let me read one of them to you, and then I'm going to talk about it a little. Point 5 in their commercial driver's Bill of Rights is detention pay. Drivers are required to legally log all their on-duty time for detention and should be paid for their time. They should be paid cents per mile at a rate of 60 miles per hour. Example, 42 cents per mile times 60 miles equals $25.20 an hour. Now obviously that's for a company driver, but if you're an owner-operator and you're being paid $1 a mile at 60 miles an hour, there's $60 an hour as an owner-operator you should be making while you're held in detention at a shipper or receiver's dock. Now we all know in the trucking industry that this happens all the time. It's not unusual for a guy to rack up 20 hours a week just in sitting time at shippers and receivers, and that adds up to hundreds of dollars a week in lost wages. We are at these shippers and receivers at the bequest of our carrier. We are there because they want us there. So when we're there at their bequest, we're working. We're having to log that time as on-duty time, so we're working. If we're working, we should be paid when we're working. Request 7 in the Commercial Driver's Bill of Rights talks about lumping. Drivers should not be responsible for loading or unloading of the freight. Their job is to supervise that the load is properly loaded and secured for transport. Lumping is one of my favorite pet peeves. It's a scam. I can't imagine how it came to be that we would deliver goods for a customer and then pay to have them put on the customer's dock, on the customer's skids. It's one of the biggest scams in trucking. I can't believe it's lasted this long. But that's got to end. That's just a ripoff. So they're against lumping and lumping fees. If there's a cost by the receiver for unloading the truck, that cost should be borne by either the carrier or the receiver or the shipper, but certainly not the driver. That's nothing more than theft. So that's a big point in our favor for having that eliminated. Point 8 in the Driver's Commercial Bill of Rights, 24/7 dispatch. When drivers are required to work, they should have the support of the company when as needed while in the operation of doing business. Now 24/7 dispatch means not having to call a number at an answering service who calls some guy at home and gets him out of bed and wakes him up, and you've got some incoherent guy trying to solve your problem for you from his bedroom. That's ridiculous. 24/7 dispatch is having somebody in the office with all the tools available to him to handle any crisis, reappointment time, handle unruly shippers or receivers, to deal with whatever the driver has going on, be it directions to get into this warehouse because he can't find the place, whatever. If the trucks are required to work 24/7, if they're on call through the night, they should have dispatch support. And the Driver's Bill of Rights calls for that. And I absolutely agree with that. It's ridiculous to have some dispatcher on call that you might have to wait 3 hours to see if he answers the service from an answering service. And who's paying for that time? You are. You're sitting there for free. So that should be completely abolished. This need for 24/7 dispatch has been initiated by the trucking companies and the shippers and the receivers. God only knows that no truck driver wants to be at a loading dock unloading at 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. or have a 3 a.m. appointment somewhere. That's ridiculous. But the trucking companies, the shippers and receivers have initiated this. So by God, if they want you there at 3 a.m., they should be there with you at 3 a.m. in case you need their support or direction or whatever. How it ever came to be that a dispatcher can go home at 5 and leave you to work till 3 a.m. or past that is beyond me, but it shouldn't be that way and it should stop. If you're the kind of guy that doesn't mind hand bombing freight for free, sitting in a parking lot in a warehouse for free, and coming home with a minuscule paycheck at the end of the week, this protest is not for you. But if you're a guy that's been involved in this industry your whole life and plan to stay the entire stretch, you need to be paid for the time you're at work, and paid fairly. And that's what this protest is about. This protest is about getting rid of stupid rules and regulations that cost us money and helping drivers make decent money. God knows we put in enough hours in a week. We should be paid accordingly. This is about getting drivers back to an upper middle income standard of living for the drivers and their families. This sitting around for free, working for free, and making minimal wages is out the window. So if you're a guy that needs to support your family properly, set up your own pension plan, because there is no pension plan otherwise in trucking if you don't do it for yourself. You've got to be able to afford to fix your equipment if you're an owner-operator, and you've got to be able to afford to take time off when you're ill. We need to make more money, and that's what Operation Black and Blue is about. That's what they're supporting, and that's why I'm supporting them. And I need for you to give them your full support. Drivers, I'm a little riled up, but this is a good operation. They've got my full support. Take care, and I will see you on the backhaul.